guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Let's crack real math. My name is Viraaj, and in this video we'll be having a look at how we can form and solve algebraic equations. So before I begin the video, please do not forget to perform an LSS, that is like, share and subscribe, and without further ado, let's begin. So before I go into examples, let's see what I mean by forming algebraic equations. What I simply mean by forming algebraic equations is that there will be certain type of questions where it will be like a word problem. Like suppose the one I can think of, rather from the top of my head, is something like, say I think of a number and then I add 6 to that number, and I subtract 4 from that number, and in the end I'm getting 90. So let's say that the number I thought of was x. Now let's say, for example, let me just make up another one. Let's say I add 4 to this, and then I subtracted 6 from that number, and then I divided everything by 2, and all of that gave me 64. Now, because this I made up, there might not be a correct answer to this, but this is the sort of type of questions you might see, where you need to read the word problem carefully, represent or label one of the variables with one of the things associated in the question. That could be a number, it could be comparing two people's age, so one person's age could be represented as x, the other one can be represented as y, and of course they will give you information so that you can solve for either one of the variables before going on to the next variable. So let's take a look at our first example. The first example is this. It says, consider the square below. Okay, there's a square, good to know. Calculate the length of the side. The length of the side. Now this may look complicated at first because they've labeled this side as 15y and this one as 4y squared minus 4. But we know that in a square, all the sides have the same length. So essentially, if this is 4y squared minus 4 and this is 15y, they're basically saying that 4y squared minus 4 is equal to 15y. That's what they're saying, because we know that this length from here to here is the same as the length from here to here. So simply, okay, no, don't need to know, okay. So simply, 4y squared minus 4 is equal to 15y. Now, in order to solve this, you could see that we would make a quadratic equation. So we now have 4y squared minus 15y minus 4 equals 0. Why minus 15y? Because the 15y comes over here and becomes negative. And if you are not comfortable in solving quadratic equations, you can look at my video on solving quadratic equations using both the formula method and the factorization method. So I'm not going to explain how we do it in this video, because this is not the purpose of the video. The purpose of this video is to form and solve algebraic equations. From this, I know I have something like x minus 4 and 4x plus 1 equal to 0. So I know x minus 4 equals 0, or 4x plus 1 equals 0. X is either 4 or it's minus 1 over 2. Minus 1 over 4, sorry. Because the 1 over here becomes minus and it divides itself by 4 afterwards. However, if you look at it carefully, minus 1 over 4 can never be the answer, because if you were to substitute minus 1 over 4 into y over here and over here, you would get a negative value, and the length of a side can never be negative. So that simply means that the positive integer, or the positive answer you get from a quadratic equation, if there is a quadratic equation, that is your answer, which in this case is 4. And just to verify, we can check your answer. We can put 4 over here and 4 over here, and we should get the same value. So let's quickly do that. 15 times 4 gives me 60, and 4 times 4 squared minus 4 also gives me 60. So 4 is the correct answer for this question. On to the next one, and this is the sort of question I was explaining before I started going to the examples, the ones with numbers. This one says, I am thinking of a number. Okay, good to know. I add 4 to the number and then multiply the result by 8. I then divide the result by 3. The final result is 48. Form an equation to show the process the starting number has gone through, and use it to calculate what number I started with. Okay, so let's say that the number that he or she started with is x. So then the person added 4 to x, so x plus 4. Then the person times the result of this by 8, so times by 8 is next. This is the first step he did, this is the second step, and then he divided the result, he or she again divided the result by 3, so divided by 3. That's the third step. And the person says that after all this, the answer he got was 48. 48, not 148, but 48. Okay. Now, if I were to form an equation from this, the first thing that I would know is that it multiplied x plus 4 by 8. I could write this as something like this. I have x plus 4, and then in brackets 8. Because this is the first step, and that's why I'm putting this in brackets, because we know that whatever is in brackets has the priority. So this happens first, x plus 4, and then it times itself by 8. And then the person said it divides by itself by 3. And then all of that equals to 48. So from here, we can now see that we have an equation which we can solve. Now, if we write divide by 3 like this, we know that all of this is the same as 8 into x plus 4 over 3 equals 48. Because when you write it in fraction form, you're simply dividing your numerator, which is 8 into x plus 4, by the denominator, which is 3. And that's what we want to divide it by 3. As you can see now, most likeliest thing to do is cross multiply. We know there's a 1 over here, so all we do is cross multiply 48 times 3, that is 144, equals to 8 into x plus 4. We can expand this part of the equation. 144 equals to 8x plus 8 into 4, that is 32. Please, if you are not comfortable in expansion of brackets, you can watch my video on expanding single, double and triple brackets. Now we take 32 to the other side. We now have 8x equals to 144 minus 32, because 32 goes over to the other side and becomes minus, and that is 112. X is nothing but 112 divided by 8, which is 14. And that is your final answer for that question. And now you can check it again. If we are saying 14 is the number the person started with, so that means let's add 4 to 14 first. So 14 plus 4, that gives 18. Then the person multiplied it by 8, so multiply 18 by 8, that gives 144. And then the person divided that by 3, so 144 divided by 3 gives me 48, and the final result that the person had was 48 too. So that is the correct answer for that question. On to the next example. This one says, Martin and Jason have a 39-year age gap between them. Okay, good to know. If Martin is 4 times Jason's age, how old is Jason? Okay, so we have two things we need to worry about here. We have Martin and Jason. So let me just represent Martin with X and Jason with Y. You can represent it with any variables. I'm just using X and Y because that's the first thing that came to my mind, but you could use P and Q, R and T, it's the same thing. Now, the first piece of information we have is Martin and Jason have a 39-year age gap between them. Then it says if Martin is 4 times Jason's age, how old is Jason? We know that Martin is the older one. How we know Martin is older? Because it said if Martin is 4 times Jason's age. So whatever Jason's age is, you times it by 4 to get Martin's age. So Martin is obviously older. That means now that if they have a 39-year age gap between them, Martin's age, which is X, minus Jason's age, which is y, should give you 39. Again, I'll repeat it. They said it has a 39-year age gap, and since Martin is the older one, this simply means that if you subtract the younger one's age from the older ones, you should get a difference of 39. So in this case, x minus y is 39. But this is only one equation, and we have two unknowns, x and y. When you have two unknowns in one equation, the most probable thing that would happen is that you would have another equation and you have to solve them simultaneously, either via substitution or elimination. So if you are not comfortable with simultaneous equations, you could watch my video on solving simultaneous equations using both the elimination method and substitution method. Now we have the first equation down. Next piece of information we have is if Martin is 4 times Jason's age, how old is Jason? So they are telling me that Martin, which is x, is equal to 4 times Jason's age, and Jason is y, so that simply means x is equal to 4y, because x, that's Martin, is equal to 4 times Jason's age, which is y, and you simply times that y by 4 to get Martin's age, x, so that's 4y. So we have x minus y equals 39, and we have x equals to 4y. If we take the 4y to the other side, we would have something like minus x plus 4y equals 0. Yep, because I took the x to this side, so this simply remains positive, 4y remains positive, and your x becomes minus, and then it's all equal to 0. So now, if I am solving this simultaneously, the best way to do this is via the elimination method. I would add this and this. The x would cancel each other out, so you don't have no x. Minus y plus 4y, this gives 3y, and 39 plus 0 gives you 39. And y is nothing but 39 divided by 3, which is 13. And the question asked us for how old is Jason, and y is Jason, so Jason is 13 years old. Now you can confirm this. If he is 13 years old, I am supposing he's a he. If he is 13 years old, then that means you should times this age, 13, by 4 to get Martin's age. And Martin's age, that means then, should be 52. And they said that the difference between the two, that's 52 and 13, is meant to be 39. So 52 minus 13 is indeed 39. So Jason's age is correct. And that is the final answer for that question. On to the final example for this video, and this is a challenge question. Challenge question. Do pause the video and have a go at this by yourself, and then resume the video to see if you're correct or incorrect. If you are incorrect, please take note of your mistake. So let's have a look at this question. It says Kelly and Sam take their 2 children to play crazy golf. Okay, good to know. Never knew crazy golf was a thing. I thought there's only golf, no crazy golf. Anyways, the total cost is £33. So for Kelly, Sam and their 2 children, total cost is £33. Billy takes his 3 children to play crazy golf, and the total cost is £27.50. So Billy and 3 children is £27.50. Calculate the price of a child's ticket and an adult's ticket. Right, so in this question we have adults and children. So let's do this. Let's represent adult by x. So let's say adult is x and children is y. Now let's look at the first part of the question. That's from here to here. It says Kelly and Sam take their 2 children. So we have 2 children, that's 2y, and we have Kelly and Sam, that's 2 adults. So we have simply 2x because x is adults, plus 2y because y is children, and this equals to £33 because the total cost is 33. So 2x plus 2y is equal to 33, and that is the first equation we have. So let's look at the second part of the question from Billy to here. So it says Billy takes his 3 children, to play crazy golf, and the total cost is £27.50. So there's only one adult here, that's Billy, so we have x plus 3y, because there are 3 children and y is represented by the children, and this equals to 27.50. Now, as you can see, we have a simultaneous equation, and all we have to do now is solve the two simultaneously. So all we did in this question so far is we represented adult by x, children by y, and then put the necessary information into the equation form, which was pretty straightforward until this point, but of course it's never over until it's over, so we need to complete this equation and do it correctly. Now, what can I eliminate here? Nothing for now, because nothing have the same coefficient, so the best way to do is times the second equation by 2, so that I have 2x over here and 2x over here. So timesing the second, or the bottom equation by 2, I will now have 2x plus 2y equals 33, that's the top equation here, and times in the bottom one here, x times 2 is 2x, 3y times 2 is plus 6y. Okay, let's write this again, this is 2y, okay. And 27.50 times 2 is 55. Now to eliminate x, I would simply subtract, this becomes 0, there's no x, 2y minus 6y is minus 4y, and 33 minus 55 is minus 22. And y is nothing but minus 22 divided by minus 4, and that's plus 5.5, because a minus divided by a minus would give you positive. Please be careful, because minus is the most dangerous sign in math. So I'm getting y to be 5.5. Now that I have my y, we can go ahead and solve for x. So let's just put this y into this equation over here. I will now have x plus 3 into 5.5 equals 27.50. I have x equals to 27.50 minus 16.50. Why minus 16.50? Because 3 times 5.5 is 16.50, and take to the other side, I will subtract 16.50 from 27.50. And doing this, you should get x is 11. So that means an adult ticket, which is represented by x, is £11. So of course, do not forget your units. Always write the units if you know which unit you're working in. And y is for the children, it's £5.5. So you can just confirm your answer. You can take one of the information they gave, or one part of the equation. Let's take Kelly and Sam. So Kelly and Sam, that makes 2 adults, and 2 adults is 11 times 2, that's 22, and 2 children, that makes 5.5 times 2, which is 11. So 22 plus 11, and that is 33, and I think the total cost was 33. Yup, it was. And that is the final answer for that question. And as you can see, you can check it again in the question, see if it is satisfying all the information given, and in this case it is, so it is most likely to be correct. So that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please do perform an LSS, that is like, share and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Have a nice one.